Welcome to Assessing Your Business. As a business owner, you know managing a business is all about managing change. There may come a time when you feel overwhelmed and not sure what direction to take your company. Our goal in this video is to help you clarify and decide what direction to take given your current set of challenges. Let's get started. Before you can decide which way to go, you need to understand where your business is now. This requires an unflinching look at the current state of your company and determining what its capabilities are using its current resources. It's about fully accepting it is what it is and acknowledging that truth. From there, you can choose to take your company in one of four strategic directions. You could just tough it out. This means keep doing what you're doing and wait for things to return to normal, whatever that may mean. Another option is to do the same thing but in a different way. There, you keep your core business but change how it does its thing. Another choice could be pivoting on your core competencies. What I mean by this is you can keep what your business is good at, but change how that competency is offered to the public. And then finally, you can simply start a new business. This means returning once again to the startup stage. So how do you know which way to go? It starts with facing the current reality. Assessing the state of your business can be done in a series of steps. It begins with a look inward into the heart of the enterprise. The first step is to conduct a financial review. This means looking at your cash flow, not only your past cash flow, but more importantly, your cash flow projection for the next year or so. If you don't know how to do a cash flow projection, I suggest you look up Financials 101, a four-part video series we did for the Pacific County Economic Development Council. One of those videos explains how to do a cash flow projection. You also want to look at your cost base and ask, are variable and fixed costs stable and under control? That is imperative. And then finally, you want to revisit your profitability. Conduct a break-even calculation. Once again, if you don't know how to do a break-even calculation, I refer you to those Financial 101 videos I mentioned earlier. You're trying to determine, can the business still perform at the level you need it to? Can it still provide a livelihood? The second step is you want to assess your business operations. Can you do something more efficiently? Can the business operate in a more cost-effective manner? How do your facilities and equipment compare to the industry, but especially to your competitors? If your competitors are using 21st century technology and you're still stuck back in the 19th century, maybe it's time for a change. And then you want to assess your core competencies. Ask, what does your business do exceptionally well? What were the key success factors that brought it to the success it now, or at least formerly enjoyed? Once you've completed that internal assessment, it's time to turn your gaze outward. Here we look at the customer and market. You want to revisit why people buy from you and identify your competitive advantages, and there should be more than one. Ask, are these still important to the people you're reaching out to? Maybe their tastes have changed. Maybe what you're offering isn't as important as it once was. Conversely, maybe it is important. Maybe they do still want your product or service, but the market's changed and now they go somewhere else to get it. If so, it's important to determine why is that so. And then finally, you want to conduct a competitor analysis. This is most easily done through a SWOT analysis. A SWOT, as you may know, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If you don't know how to do that, hang in there. I'll explain this a little later in this video. And you also want to look if any new competitors have entered the market. You want to look at your market with fresh eyes. In this turbulent time, there may be some large companies more established in urban areas that are now offering their products or services in your area, perhaps for the first time. They're trying to survive too, so maybe they're looking at a broader market. You want to make sure that you can compete against any new competitors that have entered your market. Once you've determined the current reality for your business and done that full assessment, now you're better equipped to decide which way to go. One choice, of course, is to simply tough it out. That means make no changes. Just hang in there and hopefully things will return to normal. Again, you're going to start with a financial review and you want to find out, do you have the reserves to persevere? Best way to do that is review your balance sheet. Make sure that's up to date. A balance sheet, as you know, is the current view of your financial health. It's an overview of the financial health of your company right here, right now. You want to combine that current view with a forward-looking view that a cash flow forecast provides. Then you can ask, do I need to reduce hours? Can I maintain a minimal staff or even temporarily close for the slow time of the year? Secondly, you may want to look at an outward analysis again, a customer analysis, and figure out, will they stick with you no matter what? How loyal are your customers? To help foster that loyalty, you want to never go silent. In other words, you want to keep in touch with your customers on a routine basis. Maybe not every week, maybe not every month. I wouldn't think any less than 1 quarter though, but you do want to keep in touch in some way. Maybe it's a card on their birthday, maybe it's a newsletter, maybe it's a flyer or some advertisement email, marketing advertisement of a new product you might be getting in, some way to keep in touch with your customers. And if possible, it's good to encourage that loyalty through incentives. Perhaps send them a coupon in the mail or via email saying, thank you for being such a loyal customer over these past years. We'd like to offer a 15% discount on your next order, something like that. You want to surprise and delight your customers, certainly the 20% that provide 80% of your income. Treat your best customers like royalty. And then finally ask yourself, how will you stay competitive? If your competitors are making significant changes, what do you have to do to keep up? What do you have to do to still compete with them? And are there any new opportunities that have come into your market? Perhaps you've never had to look for new opportunities. You've had a very established business for a long period of time, but maybe things have changed and now there's an opportunity that either was never there before or you didn't see before. So there's some suggestions about what you might do if your choice is to just tough it out, but you do have 3 other choices. One of those is to do the same thing but in a different way. And by that I mean keep the competencies of your business, keep what you're good at, but deliver them in a different way, offer them in a different way. So let me illustrate this concept by using an example. Our friend Sarah has a pie bakery. She's been established for a few years, very well known, and people love her pies. The first thing she wants to do is identify her competitive advantages. Well, she knows she makes pies people like. She's very good at making pies, excellent pie maker. Then she needs to identify the specific problem and brainstorm solutions. Well, she realizes with the COVID restrictions that people can no longer come in like they used to. People can't come to the pies, as it were. So maybe a solution could be take the pies to the people. So she specifically identifies a problem, it's a distribution problem in this case, and has brainstormed a solution for that. Next, she'll want to conduct a trial version. So she decides to give this delivery service, if you will, a try for the next 3 months. For the next 3 months, she'll do contact-free home deliveries in her local area as a pilot. So you've seen examples like this, of this kind of thinking already. You've seen dine-in restaurants change to takeout only, and perhaps you know of some brick-and-mortar retail stores that have moved the entire storefront online and now do business exclusively online. This is doing the same thing in a different way. The restaurant still makes great food, but now has switched to takeout. A retail store still offers desirable products, but has moved the way to access those products to an online website. A third way to go is to pivot on your core competencies. That is, identify what you're very good at, what the business is very good at, its core competencies, and then develop a strategy around that. The best way to identify your core competencies is something called a SWOT analysis. Here you can see in the blue box there, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The strengths and weaknesses is an inward look. It's a look at what the company is good at and maybe not so good at. Opportunities and threats is an outward look to the market. What opportunities can the company take advantage of or is missing because of weaknesses? And what threats are there to the company? So let me illustrate how this works by using Sarah's pie shop as an example. When Sarah sat down, she identified at least two strengths. She's great at making pies, and her company has been around a while, so it's financially stable. She also noticed a couple weaknesses. She has a small staff. With the COVID restrictions and fewer customers, she had to let some people go. And she noticed on her website, it's really just informational. You can't order online. Going further, she also identified a couple opportunities that her pies, there may be an opportunity there to appeal to the gourmet crowd. We'll call them foodies. And she also noticed in her area that there are other food providers having similar issues with her. Not enough customers, they're all in the same boat together. And she's also identified a couple threats. She noticed that because of these restrictions, no more people are walking in to her pie shop. And if this continues, that could be a definite problem. And she also noticed that nearby restaurants their customers can order online. So what can she do about these? After she's identified these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, she can go about finding some strategies. And so she sets up a matrix. What we're going to do is combine the strengths with opportunities and threats, and her weaknesses with opportunities and threats. In other words, we're going to fill in those empty squares in the matrix. So let's see what that might look like. One of her strengths is making great pies, and one of the opportunities she's seen is appealing to the foodie crowd. So a solution, a strategy might be to make unique gourmet pies and offer those at a higher price. These may only be offered 1 or 2 days a week, but she's currently not doing that. So there may be an opportunity there. Her goal here isn't to come up with all these strategies and enact them all, but rather come up with as many strategies as possible and then prioritize which ones stand the best chance of success that she can do in the shortest amount of time. Moving across, she's also identified a second strength of being financially stable, and she's identified a threat as no walk-ins. So she thought, maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe I can start doing no-contact deliveries of bake-at-home pies. The bake-at-home means that she has to work less. She doesn't have to bake them herself. And maybe this other person that she's has to work with because of her reduced staff can do some deliveries. As I mentioned, one of her weaknesses she's identified as having a small staff. It's just her and one other person. But she's also noticed other food providers in her area are having the same issues. So perhaps there's an opportunity to partner with other food providers to offer complete meals. This works for the other food provider because perhaps they don't make desserts, or if she's making them, they don't have to, so they can reduce their cost. And she's very good at it. She's very efficient at making pies, so she could probably deliver them cheaper than these other folks can. So by partnering with them, they can offer something to the local residents, to the local trade area people that perhaps they couldn't offer before. And finally, she's noticed a weakness of can't order online, and she's going to pair that with a threat that, well, other restaurants can order online, allowing their customers to order online. So she has to upgrade her website. Perhaps a strategy would be to upgrade the website to allow her customers to do online ordering. So this is how, once you've identified the facts of your business, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, you can then develop strategies, hopefully more than one, hopefully a whole series of strategies, and then you prioritize which ones can you do, test, if you will, using the least amount of time, effort, and money. Once you've proven that it works, then you can put more resources toward it. You can also, when you talk about pivoting on these core competencies, there's three ways that you can think about doing that. One is a product pivot, and this allows you to focus on your best-selling product and possibly expand that. You could also do a customer pivot, finding new customers who are willing to pay more. And you could also do a problem pivot. That is, you look for a bigger problem that you can solve using your core competencies than what you're currently solving now. An example of a customer pivot would be, for instance, a chef at a dine-in restaurant could pivot to teaching cooking classes aimed at different customers. He or she could teach kids to cook, how to produce low-cost budget meals, and then on the other end, how to produce gourmet quality meals. Different classes for different customer groups. And finally, the final choice one could have here is to simply start a different business. It's a fun question to ask. What would you do if you had all the money you needed and knew you could not fail? What ideas could you come up with? You might turn to other creatives to inspire you. You can take a view of Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or Springwise to come up with some new ideas. I'm not suggesting you copy those ideas, but they may spark an idea in your own mind. You might also consider a concept called Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese for the reason for being. And I'll show you a graphic of what that looks like. It's the intersection of four areas, four circles, if you will. You start with that yellow one and make a list of what do you love doing? What do you just really love doing? The next circle is the green circle there, and that is, what are you good at? And hopefully there's an overlap between what you love and what you're good at. That's where your passion comes from. Then we could look over to the pink circle there and ask, does the world need what you offer, the product or service that you're offering? In other words, are there enough customers for your business? And finally, that kind of bluish circle at the bottom there, can you be paid for this product or service at a level that would make it a viable business? So if you come up with an idea like that, or come up with an idea in some way, the first thing you need to do is test the viability. One way to do that is to conduct a feasibility analysis. Also, you need to look at the customers and the competitors that you might be either aiming for or coming up against for the competitors. And this just requires a lot of market research to verify your assumptions, to verify that what you think is true is in fact true. One great resource to help you through all this is to attend an Enterprise for Equity Business Readiness Workshop. These are exactly the two areas that we focus on in that workshop. Once you come through that, once you have this prove that this idea is in fact feasible, both from a financial and a customer standpoint, then you need to tackle writing a complete business plan. And again, Enterprise for Equity has a fully developed business planning program that will guide you through this. Once you have that complete written business plan, you can launch your business. This video was made possible by funding from the Pacific County Economic Development Council. My name is Jim Williams. I'm a trainer and business coach with Enterprise for Equity. Our mission is to help people with limited incomes start and grow their own successful businesses. For more information about our classes, please contact us.